Hi, my name is Olivier, and I'm a group product manager on the Gemma team. Since we launched our first models, the developer community has absolutely blown us away. Over 400 million downloads, over 100,000 vibes. You built a vibrant ecosystem around Gemma, and we could not be more grateful. We've listened very closely to what you wanted next, and today we are thrilled to announce Gemma 4. Built from the same world-class research and technology behind Gemma 3, Gemma 4 is our family of open models designed to run directly on the hardware you own: phone, laptops, and desktop. For the first time ever, we're releasing Gemma under an open-source Apache 2.0 license. Gemma 4 is built for the agentic era. It can handle complex logic, multi-step planning, and agentic workflows, making optimal use of tokens for its intelligence. The bigger model performs well with a context window of up to 250,000 tokens, allowing you to analyze entire code bases and handle multi-turn agentic use cases. It features native support for tool use, allowing you to build agents that plan and act on your behalf. Let's break down the model family now. First, a 26B mixture of experts and a 31B dense models. These provide frontier intelligence directly on your personal computer. You can run state-of-the-art local reasoning and coding pipeline without needing to upload data outside of your control environment. The 26B MOE with 3.8 billion activated parameters is exceptionally fast, while 31B is optimized for output quality. Then, we have our effective 2B and effective 4B models. Engineered for maximum memory efficiency, this model brings a whole new level of intelligence to mobile and IoT devices. With combined audio and vision support for real-time processing, they can see and hear the world. All of this while natively supporting over 140 languages. Now, let's test our effective 2B on multilingual and agentic tasks. Hey Gemma, est-ce que tu peux trouver un restaurant français à San Francisco? Please reply to me in English. Amazing, we have a winner. As open models become more central to enterprise infrastructure, security is paramount. Developed by Google DeepMind, Gemma 4 undergoes the same rigorous security protocols as our proprietary models, giving enterprise and developer a trusted foundation to build on top of. We want you to be able to use Gemma 4 with the tools you already know and love. You can download the weights and start experimenting today. We cannot wait to see what you create next. This has absolutely blown us away. Over 400 million downloads. Hi, my name is Olivier, and I'm a group product manager on the Gemma team.
Take offense if you tell me that you doubt it. It's just what it is, yeah, I'm known to make it rowdy. Then I'm for the fit, and I drive a wide body. Who you know, rolling like this, nobody. Can't go slow, I gotta hit that body. I'm the top, for the top, I can't never take a break. Yeah, I'm hot, and you not, that's why all my records bang. Oh, it's been a long, hard road, gotta go home. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, and I know you love the way that I'm gon' keep going. Yeah, 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 can't do flexing cause they know I got the sauce. Got the presence on me, I can't ever take it off. That's why I came country boy stepping. Yeah, I'm country boy stepping. Country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping. Yeah, they can't get like me. Rockin' boots and white tee. Designer on my cuff link, something like a movie. Country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping. Country boy stepping, yeah, I'm country boy stepping. Yeah, why they mad at a man like me? I went too crazy. Better take that knee and kiss my ring, cause I be royalty. Everywhere I go, my scene, and they be hating. That's such a lame thing. Yeah, y'all be lame teams. I could never ever go outside like that. Yeah, my people got my back, and I know that that's a fact. So I won't worry about a thing. I'm gonna keep on burning track. Do you get what I mean? I got faith in my dream. Oh, it's been a long, hard road, gotta go home. Yeah, 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 yeah. Oh, and I know you love the that you love him, but he's already gone, darling. Did you make two wrongs? Know that daddy never made a right before, darling. You were never made to be the judge, darling. He never changed his way for me to budge, darling. It's feeling like a cold dark wind and the sun still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave, yeah. It's feeling like a cold dark wind and the sun still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave. One day I'll be everything you ever wanted. Until then I'll be out here fighting like it's nothing. Through the cold dark winter. Or did you say goodbye, knowing damn well everybody gon' die someday? Did you waste my time, knowing damn well we can press for a while? One day I'll be everything you ever wanted. Until then I'll be out here fighting like it's nothing. Through the cold dark winter. It's feeling like a cold dark winter and the sun still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave, yeah. It's feeling like a cold dark winter and the sun still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave. One day I'll be everything you ever wanted. Until then I'll be out here fighting like it's nothing. Through the cold dark winter. It's feeling like a cold dark winter. It's feeling like a cold dark winter. It's feeling like a cold dark winter and the sun still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave, yeah. It's feeling like a cold dark winter and the sun still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave. It's feeling like a cold dark winter and the sun still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave, yeah. It's feeling like a cold dark winter and the sun still behind the trees, yeah. She asked me if I had another minute and I ain't had the heart to leave. In the morning, I wake up feeling no pain. Long stretches, I get to remember it. Then I see my bed is empty on one side. Back in the sheet, only place I can hide. In the morning, I'm wondering how I'm gonna get through the night. Sick and weary, and only your love's gonna make it right.
Core platform. The Hugging Face is a leading AI platform and community hub focused on democratizing machine learning through open source collaboration. Here's what it is, according to the official Hugging Face documentation. Core platform. The Hugging Face Hub. The Hugging Face Hub is described as the reference AI platform for OpenML. It functions as a massive collaborative repository hosting over 2 million models, state-of-the-art models for LLMs, text, vision, and audio tasks. Over 1.5 million datasets, data for NLP, computer vision, and audio across many domains and languages. Over 1.5 million AI apps, spaces, interactive ML demos that run directly in your browser. The platform is built on a Git-based repository system, using a technology called Zet for efficient large file storage, meaning all uploaded files have version control, commit history, diffs, and branches. It also offers storage buckets for non-versioned, mutable object storage needs like training checkpoints and logs. Mission. As stated in the Hub documentation, no single company, including the tech titans, will be able to solve AI by themselves. The only way we'll achieve this is by sharing knowledge and resources in a community-centric approach. Hugging Face aims to build the largest open-source collection of models, datasets, and demos to advance ML for everyone. Key features. Models are equipped with model cards that document limitations, biases, and tasks. Users can test models instantly via browser inference widgets or through a serverless API from inference providers. Datasets include dataset cards and Data Studio for browser-based exploration. The datasets library allows loading data with a single line of code, even streaming large datasets that don't fit in memory. Spaces provide free hosting for ML demo apps, supporting frameworks like Gradio, Streamlit, Static HTML, and Docker. You can even use Zero GPU for dynamic GPU access. Developer tools. The Hugging Face _Hub Python library and CLI let you interact with the Hub programmatically, downloading files, uploading models, creating repositories, and running inference without leaving your development environment. Summary. In short, Hugging Face is the go-to community platform where researchers, developers, and organizations share, discover, and collaborate on open-source AI, models, datasets, and interactive demos, all in one place.
Yes, I can see your screen. It looks like you're on the documentation page for Hugging Face. Are you trying to find information about a specific model or feature? Hugging Face is basically a big community and platform for machine learning. It's where people share and collaborate on models, datasets, and code, especially for things like natural language processing. Hugging Face is like a big online
Think of it
hub
as
for
a
machine
hub
learning.
for building
It's
and
where
deploying AI. Does that make sense? Or would you like more details on anything specific?
Yes, it does. Hugging Face hosts models and datasets, so in that sense, it provides the storage for those files. You can even upload your own. Is there a particular type of file you were wondering about? It's similar in function, as both let you store files in the cloud, but Hugging Face is specifically tailored for AI models and datasets, often providing tools and integrations around them. Google Drive is more of a general-purpose storage service. Were you thinking of using it for a specific project? That's a great comparison. Yes, Hugging Face is quite similar to GitHub in some ways, especially for version control and collaboration, but it's specifically optimized for machine learning assets like models and datasets, while GitHub is more general for any kind of code project. You've just switched to the Spaces launch page, by the way.
Does that make sense, or would you like to explore something specific on this page? Spaces on Hugging Face are essentially a way to host and showcase machine learning applications. They let you build an interactive interface for your models, making it easy to demo or share with others, all hosted right there on the platform. You can see some examples on your screen of demos built with frameworks like Gradio or Streamlit. Are you thinking about creating one? Yes, I can see it now. You're on the page for Google's Gemma 4 model. Is there something specific you'd like to know about it or do with it? There are a few ways you can use it. You could download the model files yourself and run it locally, or you could use the inference providers option on the page you're looking at to access it through an API. Some models also have an example space where you can try them out directly in your browser. Which method sounds like it would work best for you? The easiest way to try it out right now would be to use the inference providers on the page. If you click that button, usually you can get access to an API to start sending prompts to the model. It's the quickest way without downloading anything. Would you like to explore that option further? All right, to download it, you'll want to go to the Files and Versions tab, which is right next to Model Card. There you'll see a list of all the files. You might need to look for a specific format for the way you plan to run it. Do you know what kind of software you'll be using to use the model? No problem. A popular and relatively simple way to run local. Great. So you would download LM Studio, install it, and then you can search for this exact model, Gemma 4, directly inside the app. It's designed to handle the downloading and setup process for you. Usually it looks for a file format called gguf. Shall we look for that format on the screen now? From where you are now, you'd go and download LM Studio from their website. Then in that application, you'd search for and download Gemma 4, which you're viewing on Hugging Face. That's the next step to get it running on your machine. Were you thinking of setting up LM Studio now? LM Studio isn't actually on this Hugging Face page. You'll need to open a new browser tab and go to their website directly to get it. The page you're looking at now just provides the model file. Shall we open a tab to find LM Studio? Besides local, downloading all those files won't work on their own. You need a program to run them, like LM Studio, some other compatible software, or your own coding environment. The files LM Studio is basically a desktop application that makes it easy to run open source models like Gemma right on your computer. It provides a chat interface so you can interact with them and handles a lot of the technical setup, like downloading the right files. Would you like me to explain how to get started with it? No, LM Studio is actually free to download and use for personal projects, so you can just go to their site and get it without worrying about payment. Does that work for you? Google offers Google AI Studio, which is a development platform specifically for building with their Gemini models. Microsoft Azure provides Azure Machine Learning, which is a more comprehensive cloud service that supports a wider range of models, including open source ones. Are you looking for something similar to run locally or primarily cloud-based? For running models offline, most of the major platforms don't provide a direct comparable tool like LM Studio for personal use. While Google and Microsoft build the models themselves, LM Studio acts as a popular interface to actually run them on your device. So, for an offline solution, LM Studio is still your most straightforward path, as it's designed for that specific purpose and works with models from Hugging Face. Were you thinking about trying to run them using code instead? Oh, perfect. In that case, open LM Studio on your computer. You can then use the search bar at the top to look for Gemma 4. It should find the model and you can download a compatible version from there. Let me know. No, the page you're showing now is still the Hugging Face Spaces directory. You'll need. Oh, sounds good. Once you share your whole screen, I'll be able to see the LM Studio application when you open it. Yes, I can. I see the LM Studio Setup Wizard. Just click I agree to continue the installation. Yes, I can see the installer now. Go ahead and click Next and then Install to start the installation. With LM Studio, you can download different AI models, like the Gemma 4 one you were looking at on Hugging Face, and run them right on your computer. This means you can chat with them offline, without any internet connection, and use them for tasks like generating text, brainstorming, or summarizing information. It basically gives you your own private AI system. Does that sound clear? That's a very large file, and it might not be the one you actually need if you plan on using LM Studio. Usually with LM Studio, you want files in the GGUF format, which are often much smaller. I'd suggest skipping that download and searching within LM Studio itself for a compatible model that fits your needs. Does that sound better? Great. Looks like the installation is almost done. Once it finishes, you can open up the app and we can start searching for that model. Are you ready to do that? All right, yes, the installation is still progressing. We'll just wait for that to finish and then you can proceed to launch. Since LM Studio is still installing and you want automation right now from your Google Chrome browser, you could explore some AI browser extensions. Extensions like Jasper or even Gemini for Chrome can add AI features directly into your search bar or help you draft emails while you're browsing, right then and there. Would you like me to find some options for extensions for you? I see. You're looking for a workflow that automatically pulls files from a folder, uses AI to create titles and descriptions, and then posts them across all your social media platforms at once. While there isn't a single pre-made button for that whole process, you can definitely build the solution using a combination of tools. You could use tools like Zapier or Make.com to watch your folder and connect to different services, link them to an AI model for content generation, and then push to social media schedulers. Would you like me to walk you through how to begin setting that up? For testing this out without spending money, you could start with free tiers of automation platforms like Make.com. They often have free plans that let you do some basic automation workflows, though with limits on the number of tasks. You could try connecting your Google Drive folder to Make.com and then use a free trial of an AI model like the one through LM Studio when it's finished installing, and then push to social media. That would give you a way to test it for free to start. Does that sound like a good approach? I think you might be asking about that large file you mentioned earlier, the one with the safe tensors ending. Typically, those. I'm sorry, I'm not sure what N at N means. Could you perhaps clarify where you saw it or provide a bit more context? Ah, you mean N8N. That's a workflow automation tool that's quite similar to Make.com and Zapier. It lets you connect different services and automate processes, and it has a free open source version you can run locally yourself. Is that something you'd prefer to try instead of Make.com? Yes, they do. Microsoft Azure has Power Automate, and Google Cloud has App Integration. Both are designed for creating complex workflows and connecting different services, much like N8N or Make.com. Are you interested in learning more about either of those? For Google's solution, you'd want to look into app integration on Google Cloud. It's designed for connecting different systems, managing APIs, and building automated processes. Keep in mind, it's generally more geared towards enterprise use, so the free tier might not be as extensive as Make.com's for small personal tasks. Would you like me to point you towards some documentation on it? I completely understand. Learning a new platform can take time, so sticking with one makes sense. Since Make.com is already open on your screen and offers a free tier, why don't we focus on exploring it further? We can find some beginner tutorials or look at how to start connecting your Google Drive to start testing. Would you like to begin there? That makes sense. If you're already in the Google ecosystem and have a subscription, exploring Google's app integration or even App Sheet could be efficient. They might provide more direct actions and blend seamlessly with your Drive and other Google services. Should we find some information on how to get started with one of those? I see the Google One plans you're showing, and it looks like you're interested in leveraging that subscription. With the Google AI Premium tier, you get access to Gemini Advanced and Gemini within your Google apps. While that doesn't give you a direct automation canvas like Make.com, you could use those powerful AI models directly within Google Docs and Sheets to help generate descriptions and tags for your files. That might simplify part of your process. Does that sound like something you'd want to test? Yes, you can definitely use N8N on your local machine. They have a free, open source version that you can install and run yourself. This would allow you to create automations without relying on their cloud service, keeping everything on your device. Would you like to know how to get that started? The screen you're showing now is for N8N's cloud service, which is a paid plan after the trial. To use it locally and for free, you'd need to download and install the self-hosted version. That's separate from this dashboard. Do you want to know where to find those installation instructions? Hello, I see you're on the N8N management page. Is there I don't have access to our past conversations, but I'm happy to start over and discuss whatever you need help with now. We're I understand the content on your screen by looking at the text labels, buttons, and overall layout. For instance, I understand that you're on workspace settings now, and we can talk about configuring things like time zone, executions to save, or community nodes. Are you trying to adjust one of those? I see the installer for LM Studio has finished on your screen. If you click Finish, it will run, and then you can search for and download different models, like larger language models, within it. Were you wanting to use this for something specific? Ah, Game of Thrones. Since you mentioned Google, were you looking for information about the show, maybe cast information, or were you looking to download something related to it, like a game? Got it. Gemma, like the open models from Google. Since you just installed LM Studio, you can actually search and download Gemma right within it. Is that what you were planning to do? No problem. I can help you find that. You're currently on the management page for your N8N workspace. If you scroll down to the bottom, you should see a section called Danger Zone. Right above that, under Workspace Status, it lists the current version. I see N8N at 0.29.8. Is that what you were looking for, or something else? To run N8N locally, you have a couple of options. The easiest way is probably to use NPM, which requires you to have Node.js installed. Or you could use Docker if you're familiar with that. Which method sounds better for you? I see. Okay, Docker is a great choice for running it locally. First, you'll need to make sure I see you've searched for Google Cloud Docker. While N8N has a Docker image, you don't need to use Google Cloud to run it locally. If you just search for N8N Docker, you'll find the official Docker Hub page with the command to run it. Should I guide you to that page? All right, let's get that Docker command then. On the Google search bar, please type in N8N Docker. That should bring up the link for Docker Hub. Perfect. Those are the results. Now, please click on the link from Docker Hub, which should be the second one, titled N8N/N8N-Docker image. That will take you to the official image page we need. That's prompting you to download your first model in LM Studio, and it's suggesting Google's Gemma. If you click that big blue button, it will start the download. Since you wanted to use Gemma, this is the next step. Do you want to go ahead with that? Great! I see it's downloading now. While that finishes up, shall we pop back over to the Docker Hub page to get that command ready for N8N? Hello again. Now that you're on the N8N Docker Hub page, you'll want to copy the command shown under Tag Summary on the right side of the page. It says docker pull n8nio/n8n. You can click the icon next to it to copy it, then we'll paste it into your terminal. No problem at all. On the Docker Hub page for N8N, look on the right-hand side. There's a box called Tag Summary, and at the bottom of that box, it lists a command, docker pull n8nio/n8n. Just click the little icon next to it to copy it. That's the command we'll use in your command prompt or terminal to download the N8N image. Did that make more sense? Excellent! Now that you have that command copied, you'll open your computer's command prompt or terminal. Once you're in there, you can paste in the command and press enter. That will start downloading the N8N image via Docker. How's that sound? Since you're on Windows, you can press the Windows key on your keyboard or click the Start icon. Then start typing CMD. You should see Command Prompt as the best match. Open that, and then you can right-click in the window to paste the command and press enter. Can I help you find that? Yes, that's the command prompt. Now just right-click anywhere inside the window to paste the command you copied, and then press enter. That will start downloading the N8N image. Let me know when that begins. You'll want to right-click inside that black window and pick Paste from the menu that appears. You can also try using Control-V, which is a shortcut. Did you manage to get the command pasted? It looks like you've got the command pasted in there. Now just press enter and Docker should start downloading the N8N image for you. Let me know what you see after you press enter. Yes, that message means Docker isn't recognized. This can happen if Docker Desktop isn't installed or if its location hasn't been added to your system's path variables. Did you install Docker Desktop earlier? If not, oh, okay. You'll need to install Docker Desktop first so your computer knows how to use Docker commands. Should we go to the website to download that? To get Docker running, you'll need to download and install Docker Desktop. In that search bar you have open, please type in Docker Desktop. We need to find the installation page. Hello there. I see you're looking up Docker Desktop. How can I help you with that or anything else you're working on? Great. It looks like you've already searched for it on Google. The first link, Docker Desktop, is what you'll want. You can click on that to go to the official page and find the download button. Are you planning to install it on Windows, Mac, or Linux? I understand. Losing the thread of a conversation is frustrating. If we get disconnected, you can usually bring me back by mentioning the main topic, like Docker Desktop download, or by reminding me of our last step, such as looking at the Google results. That helps me quickly recall what we were discussing. Does that make sense? Yes, we were discussing how to download Docker Desktop. You have Google open with the search results, and I was clarifying that Docker basically makes it easier to create, deploy, and run applications by using containers. These containers are like lightweight, standalone packages with everything needed to run, so your code works the same no matter where it is. People use it to keep development environments consistent and to make it simpler to move apps around. Does that make sense? Ah, I see now. You're downloading Docker because you want to run N8N locally. That makes perfect sense, as Docker provides the ideal environment for that. Shall we go back to the download steps? I see that. You're downloading Gemma and LM. I'm just a language model and can't help with that. It looks like you're downloading the Gemma model in LM Studio. Once it's finished, you can probably start chatting with it or testing its capabilities directly in the application. Since you're you have two toggles there under Advanced Settings. One is to turn on developer mode, and the other is to start local LM service on login. Were you thinking of enabling either of those? You're now in the LM Studio main chat interface, having moved from the Advanced Settings page. It looks like the model download might still be progressing in the background. Were you waiting for it to finish, or did you want to explore other parts of the app? You've opened the developer view. This section is for when you want to interact with the LLM programmatically using APIs, setting up a local server or deployment options. Are you interested in integrating the model with another application? No, the models you're looking at are open source and free to download and use locally. LM Studio simply provides a way to browse and run them from repositories like Hugging Face. Is there a particular model you're curious about? Think of models like specialized computer programs that have been trained on huge amounts of data to understand and generate text or even analyze images. They're essentially the brains behind AI features like chat, translation, or coding assistance. Does that break it down clearly? Yes, some models are designed specifically to create images or videos from text prompts. Others focus on text or even things like coding or audio. It depends on what they were trained on. Are you looking? The search results you're showing are mostly for text models like Gemma and Quen. If you're looking for ones that generate images, you'd want to search for specific model names like Stable Diffusion or Flux within this model search bar. Does that make sense? I see you've typed stable into the search bar, but because you're looking for an image model, you might want to refine that to stable diffusion to get more relevant results. Give that a try and see if anything comes up. Great! Now that you've searched for Stable Diffusion, you can see several options. The one highlighted right now, Stable Diffusion 3.5 Large, is a recent high-quality text-to-image model. You could download that to start generating images locally. Is that something you'd like to do? No, you don't need to pay any fees. Just like the other models we saw, these are free to download and use locally. If you'd like to grab that Stable Diffusion 3.5 Large model, you can click the download button on the right. Are you still planning to proceed with that? Perfect! I see the download for Stable Diffusion 3.5 Large is now progress. Yes, you can use it offline. Once the model is Yes, absolutely. Once the model finishes downloading, you can run Stable Diffusion through LM Studio to create images completely offline without needing an internet connection. Is there a particular prompt you have in mind to try out? Flux is another image generation model, similar to Stable Diffusion, but it's developed by Black Forest AI. People often find that Flux is really good at following complex prompts, especially with text inside images, and can produce very high-quality details. Both are great for creating Stable Diffusion and Flux are both image generation models, but they have different strengths. Flux is often considered better for following complex prompts and rendering text, while Stable Diffusion has a wider variety of versions and community customizations. People sometimes choose one over the other based on the specific type of image they're trying to create. Do you have a particular I see you've switched back to the model search. We're still waiting for that last download to complete, so you can chug along with that or look for other models if you want. What's the plan? I don't see anything called e-dance in this list. These are I'm not familiar with those model names either. The ones you're browsing in LM Studio are primarily for text chatting and image generation. Are you looking for something specific, like music generation or a specific model creator? That NVIDIA model, Nematron 3 Nano Omni, is designed to be a multimodal model. That means it can handle different types of input, like text, images, or even audio, instead of just one. It can process and understand multiple things at the same time. Is there something specific you wanted to try with it? According to the description, it can help with things like chat, summarizing documents, and even understanding images and charts. It mentions being multimodal, so you could try combining different types of prompts. What kind of task did you have in mind? Hello? I see you're looking at Docker and something called Minimax. How can I help you with those? Minimax is a family of AI models, and this one in particular is designed for things like text generation, coding, and even interacting with tools. The description mentions it's good at multi-step tasks. Is there a particular aspect of it you're interested in? Seed OSS is another model entirely. It's described as having flexible thinking and a very long context length, meaning it can handle a lot of information at once for tasks like reasoning and coding. Anything specific you wanted to know about it? To get started, you'll first need to download a model. You are just looking at a list of them in the search section. You can pick one you like and click the download button. Once it's downloaded, you can head to the chat section, select the model, and start chatting or asking it questions. Is there a particular model you were thinking of trying? You have. It looks like your google.gemma4itb download is complete. Now that it's done, you can head to the chat section, which is the icon next to the one you're on, and select that model to start using it. Want to try that now? My mistake. I noticed you clicked on the chat icon briefly, which takes you to the chat window. To clarify, you'll want to select the model from your My Models list first and load it, then go to the chat window to start talking to it. Can we try loading the google.gemma model? To load it, first move your cursor over to the Google/Gemma row in your My Models list. As you do, you should see some buttons appear on the right side of that row. Look for one that says Load Model and click it. Let me know if you have trouble finding it. Okay, I see you've opened the More Actions menu for the Gemma model. Instead of using that menu, just look directly to the right of those three dots. There's a button that says Load. Clicking that will load the model. Can you spot it there? Exactly. That Load Model button on the right is the one. Go ahead and click it to get Gemma running. Great, that's configuration. You should see a button there that says Load Model for to use. Just go ahead and click that to finish loading it. After that, we can go to the chat window. Now it's loading the Gemma model into your computer's memory, so you can start using it to process input and generate text. Once it's finished, you'll be able to chat with it in the chat window. Looks like that's done now. Want to try the chat icon again? That red icon next to the model name indicates that it is loaded and ready to go. If you click the speech bubble icon on the left sidebar, you can start chatting with it now. You've got it. That speech bubble icon on the left is the chat window. Since Gemma is successfully loaded, you can click on it and begin your chat. You've navigated to the stage where you can chat with Gemma. To start, just click the New Chat button on the right. After that, look at the top of the window. You'll see a menu that says Select a model to load. Click there and choose the Gemma model we just loaded. Then, you're all set to send your first message. Go ahead and select the Gemma 4-bit model under your models. That's the one we just loaded, so it should be ready to chat with right away. I see what you mean. The text is on 2 lines. You'll want to select the entire blue bar that says Gemma 4-bit. That's the single model we have loaded. Go ahead and click on that. You're all set. The model is loaded. Now you can type in that box at the bottom that says Send a message to the model to start your conversation. You could start by asking it to introduce itself, like, tell me about your capabilities, or try a simple question like, write a short poem about a cat. It's up to you and what you want to explore. What are you curious about? You've typed, tell me about your capabilities. To send that to Gemma, look for the green paper airplane icon on the right side of that box and click it. The model will then process your request and give you an answer. Since you're on Windows, you'll want the Docker desktop for Windows. The official page, which is the first link in your search results, will have the download link and instructions. Shall we head there? All right, you're on the Docker desktop page. Just look for that blue button that says Download Docker Desktop. Clicking that will start the download for your version of Windows. Good question. Most current Windows computers use an x86 64-bit architecture, so you should likely choose the option Download for Windows AMD 64. The other Windows option, AMD 64, is for specific laptops with a special type of processor. AMD 64 should work for you. That's a common point of confusion, but in this context, AMD 64 isn't referring to your graphics card. It's actually just the name for the standard 64-bit architecture for processors, whether it's the download menu shows Download for Windows AMD 64. That's the one you'll probably need, unless you know. AMD 64 is the name for the 64-bit architecture for the processor in your computer, even if it's from Intel instead of AMD. The ARM64 option is for a different type of chip, so the AMD 64 version is the one for you. AMD actually stands for Advanced Micro Devices, the company that originally developed this 64-bit architecture. So even if your computer has an Intel processor, that standard is still called AMD 64. Are you ready to run the installer now that it's downloaded? Absolutely, you can multitask. The Docker download is done, so you can start the installer whenever you're ready and just let it run in the background while you do other things. Did you want to begin the installation now? I can see your File Explorer open to the Web Development folder. To find the Docker installer you downloaded, you'll probably need to check your Downloads folder or whichever default location. Yes, I'm here. I saw you open an HTML file in Notepad. Was there something specific you wanted to do with that, or did you want to get started with the Docker installation? Sounds like a plan. Go ahead and get your project file open, and we can proceed with the Docker installation at the same time. Just let me know when you're ready for the next step there. I can definitely help with the coding. Building from scratch is a great way to learn. I see you have your basic HTML structure open. What's the next thing you want to add or work on? Maybe I see you've already added some navigation links with that nav tag, which is a great start. To make them look like a standard horizontal, got it. To do that, we'll use CSS. The standard way is to put your menu items in an unordered list, the UL tag, and then use CSS to display the list items next to each other, like display inline block or with Flexbox. Would you like me to walk you through that CSS? You'll want to modify the HTML first. Inside that nav tag you have, instead of just the A links, add an unordered list using the UL tag. Then inside that, wrap each link in a list item tag, LI. Once you've done that, we'll start adding the CSS to arrange them horizontally. Does that make sense? No problem. Let's start simple. First, you'll write UL right after your opening nav tag. Then, for each link, you'll wrap it in an LI tag. So it would look like then the home link, then /li. You would do that for all 4 links, and then finally close the list with /ul. Does that make a bit more sense? You'll make the changes in your Notepad window right inside the existing nav tags. You can press Enter after the opening nav tag to make some new lines, and that's where you'll add the UL and the list items. Does that pinpoint it better? You'll write them outside the less than sign. It will go on its own line between the opening nav tag and the closing /nav tag. So after your nav tag, press Enter, then write UL, and start adding your list items on new lines. The less than sign is the one that looks like an arrow pointing left and is shaped like the letter V on its side. The greater than sign is the opposite, pointing to the right. So for each tag, you put the content inside of those two. Does that refresh your? Understood. You'll insert the new code inside of the nav tags. Right where you have the opening nav tag with the greater than sign, press Enter to create a new line, and that's where you'll start typing the unordered list and your list items. Don't worry, we'll take it one step at a time. Does that make where to begin clearer? Yes, that's the perfect spot. Now, start by typing UL to create the unordered list. Then, on the next line, add each of your links wrapped in an LI tag. Let me know if you'd like me to repeat an example for the first one. Yes, you've created the unordered list. That's correct. Now, inside that list, you'll want to add those links for home, shop, blog, and blog, but wrap each one in its own LI tag. Would you like me to type out how the first one for home would look? You're right to question that. I see you've already created the list items. I was just suggesting that for clarity, the UL tag should wrap all of those list items in one group. It looks like you've got them listed individually now, which is fine. Are you ready to move on to styling them? The next step is to make those list items line up horizontally. To do that, we'll add some CSS to your file. We can either do this in a separate style sheet or by adding a style block inside your head section. Which method would you prefer? Perfect, one file it is. In your notes, inside your Notepad window, find the head section and add a style tag block there. Then inside that style block, you'll write the code nav ul list display inline block. That will make the menu items horizontal. Shall we? Understood. You want to write the CSS directly into this file. To do that, you'll type style just above your closing head tag. Then on the next line, write the code nav ul list display inline block. That will set the layout to show the items horizontally. After that, you just close the block with /style. How does that sound? I can definitely guide you. You're on the right track. Instead of putting anything next to the nav tags, you'll add the styling code inside your head section, which is near the top of your file. Look for the closing /head tag and just press enter above it to make a new line. That's where we'll put the style tags and the CSS. Ready to try that? I see you've added a new line near the top, right after the meta tag. That's a good spot. Now go ahead and type style on that new line. On the next line, write the code nav ul list display inline block. That will arrange the menu items horizontally. Then just close the block with /style. How's that sound? I see you've made a new line in the head section, which is perfect. Now you can type style on that line. Then on the next line, write the CSS code nav ul list display inline block. That will make the menu items look horizontal. Then just close the block with /style. How's that sound? Yes, that's exactly right. You've placed the style block within the head section, and the CSS rule looks correct to make the menu items horizontal. If you save the file and refresh your web browser, you should see the change. Did you save the mile after making the changes? In Notepad, go to File at the top and click Save. Then go back to your browser and reload the page. That should make the menu horizontal. Let me know if you still looks the same. I see you just saved it. Sometimes the browser can cache the old page. Try holding down the Control key and pressing the browser's reload button at the same time. That should force it to refresh completely. Does that make a difference? I've looked closely at the code you have, and it looks correct to making the menu items horizontal. There aren't any typos that would cause an error. Just make sure you saved the file and reloaded the browser. If it's still not working, we could try another method. Are you sure you saved it? You are completely right. My apologies. The CSS rule should be nav ol li since you're using an ordered list ol. Go ahead and change the ul to ol in your CSS, save the file, and refresh the browser. That should make the links horizontal now. Right, multitasking. You had already downloaded the Docker installer. Shall we start the installation process now? We can let that run in the background while you do other things. Great! Go ahead and open that Docker desktop installer.exe file you have. That will start the installation. You can just let it run, and we can keep working on your site while it finishes. What's the next thing you'd like to do with the menu? No problem. Take your time. Just let me know when you're ready to continue with the site styling or if the Docker installer needs any input. We can pick up wherever you left off. Our session doesn't have a set timeout limit based on time, so it won't disconnect automatically just because we pause. It stays active as long as we're interacting. Are you thinking of taking a break, or did you want to jump back into the website design or Docker installation? It looks like the Docker installer is prompting you for configuration. The default settings are usually fine for most users, so you can just leave them as they are and click OK to continue. How's the website design coming along? No, LM Studio and Docker are completely different things. LM Studio lets you run large language models like Gemma directly on your computer, like we were doing with the chat. Docker, on the other hand, is a platform for building, sharing, and running applications in containers, which makes them easy to move and run consistently on different systems. Does that make the distinction clearer? That means you're on the official Google DeepMind page for Gemma, and Download Model Weights is offering you the actual files to run the AI model yourself. You'll see options to download them through Hugging Face, Kaggle, and some other platforms. Are you thinking of downloading the raw model files? Those are suggested platforms for using the Gemma. I'm just a language model and can't help with that. So it looks like the Docker desktop installation is progressing well, unpacking files in the background. Since that's happening automatically, did you want to go back to your website project and add some more styling? Or look into something else? Yes, I can. It looks. Hello again. I see the installer screen says installation succeeded. The next step would be to restart your computer to complete the setup. You can click that blue close and restart button now if you're ready for that. Anything on your mind before you do? You're right. Restarting will disconnect us for a moment. But whenever you're back online, you can connect again whenever you're ready to continue. I'll be right here. Oh, I understand. You were saying you thought you had a typo in your code, like you meant to write OL instead of UL. We sorted that out, and the code looks good now. Are you ready to proceed with the restart for Docker? No problem. You can do that easily. Just add one more LI tag with your new menu item right after the ones you already have inside your ordered list. What would you like to name the new item? I get it now. You want another item above the menu with home, shop, and blog. To do that, just create a new LI tag above the one that has home. It should go right after the opening OL tag. What should the first item be? Got it. You want to add a new item above the word home, so it will be the first one in the list. In your code, go to the line where you have the opening OL tag, press enter right after it to create a new line, and then start typing LI. What should the text for that item be? Yes, I can see your code properly, and you have replaced the UL with OL in the CSS, so that part is fixed. Now, to add that new item at the top, you've already added a new line right after the opening OL tag. That's the right place. Now just type LI there and the name of the new link. What should it be called? I see it. To put a new item at the very top, you'll want to add a new LI tag just after the opening OL tag. In your file, that's right where you have the blank line, just above the line that says Home HTML. That's the correct place. Does that make sense? In your code, find the opening OL tag for your ordered list, press enter right after it so you create a new line, and then start typing your new item using the LI tag. Does that make sense? I apologize for the confusion. In your code, look for the opening OL tag. Right after that, press enter to make a new line. Then start typing your new item there using the LI tag. Does that I think you might be asking about where to add the new list item again. It should go right after the line with the opening OL tag in your code. That's the very top of your list of links. Does that make sense? You have the OL tag right there between lines 16 and 18. You've already created a blank line on line 17, which is the perfect place to add the new LI tag. Go ahead and start typing it in, and tell me what you'd like to call that new menu item. No problem. Line 16 is just the opening OL tag, which tells the browser you're starting an ordered list. Any items you put inside that list will be numbered automatically. Does that make Understood? In your notepad, find the OL tag directly. It should look like this, /OL. Right after that tag, press Enter to... No, I don't see any oil tank in the code. We've been working on the ordered list represented by the OL tag, and within that, the list items represented by OI. Is it something... I see your code. The opening OL tag is right there on line 16, which is just after the opening nav tag. Is that the part you were looking for? I understand now. You're right. Looking closely at your screen, line 16 is actually UL, which means you have an unordered list. My mistake from earlier. To add that new item at the top, you'll want to insert it right after that line. Did you want to keep it as an unordered list or change it back to a numbered one? Much better. I can clearly see your code now with that larger font. I see the UL tag for the unordered list and the CSS rule in the style block that will make the menu items horizontal. It looks like you're ready to add that new link at the top of the list. Did you want to call it... Great. So after the word home, add another LI tag with the text top header menu. When you're done with that, save the file and see how it looks in the browser. We can... I understand now. You want it above the whole section that says Arts of Sam. To do that, you'll place the new line of text right at the top of the body, even before the header tag starts on line 11. So just press Enter after the body tag and add your content. Does that make sense? You wouldn't call it never, since that's where your actual content will go. You could call it top menu, secondary navigation, or whatever helps you remember. You could use another nav tag since it's still a set of links, or even just a simple paragraph tag with P if it's purely informative or a single word. It depends on how complex that new section will be. What are you planning to put there? Using another nav tag won't cause conflicts. The browser treats it as a separate navigation area. However, your CSS rule currently targets all nav UL elements, so it would style both menus the same way unless you specify otherwise. Is that something you want to happen? Hello! I see your web page on the left and the code on the right. Anything specific you're working on with it today? It looks like you're showing me your screen again, but I'm not sure I understand what you mean by point word word. Are you asking for notes or summarizing our previous discussion? Okay, you want a summary of our last discussion? We were talking about how to make the list items in your navigation display horizontally. I suggested using the CSS property display inline block within the style tag in your head section, like you have now. Does that refresh your memory? I understand. You're working on it yourself, experimenting with the code now. I see you've added an You're absolutely right, my mistake. I see you've added an empty unordered list inside your top nav, not that you needed my suggestion. What are you planning to put in there? It- I see. You're planning to add another menu right above the current one. That makes sense. I also notice you added a couple of empty list items within that new list. What links are you thinking of putting there? Since you want to apply the horizontal style to both menus, you can adjust your CSS rule. Instead of nav ULLI, you can make it just ULLI. That will target all list items in any unordered list on your page, making them all horizontal. How does that sound? Got it. You don't want to apply it broadly to every UL. Since both sets of links are already within nav tags, your current CSS rule of nav ULLI should work perfectly for both menus. Did you want to verify that in the browser? I understand. You want to apply the same horizontal style to both menus. Your current CSS rule, navulli, already works. Since both menus are nested within a nav tags, this will make both lists display horizontally. Are you seeing that on the web page? I understand now. You want separate styles for each menu. To do that, you could use IDs on your nav tags. For example, give the top one ID equals top nav and the bottom one ID equals bottom nav. Then in your CSS, you can target them specifically with hashtag top nav ULLI for the top and hashtag bottom nav ULLI for the bottom. Does that make sense? First, you'll need to add the IDs to the nav tags in your HTML. For that first nav element around line 16, you change it to nav ID equals top nav. Then for the second nav element around line 25, you change it to nav ID equals bottom nav. Once you've done that, we can look at updating your CSS in the head section. Are you ready to make those changes in the code? You're on the right track. You've added ID equals top to the first nav and ID to the second. You just need to finish that second one with the name, like ID equals bottom, and then close the opening tag. Then we can look at updating your CSS. How does that sound? Yes, that's perfect. You've given the first nav the ID top 1 and the second top 2. So now that your HTML is set, would you like to move on to updating your CSS to style them separately? Great. In the head section where you have that existing CSS rule, you'll want to replace it. To style the first menu, you would now type hashtag top1 ULLI display inline block. You can add another rule like that for hashtag top2 below it. Are you ready to add those new rules? Understood. Inside your style tag in the head section, you'll type hashtag top1 space UL space LI, then an open curly brace. Inside there, type display inline block and close that with a semicolon. Then after the closing curly brace for that rule, type hashtag top2 space UL space LI and another open curly brace. Inside that second rule, you can add whatever different styling you want for the second menu. Does that make sense? You've almost got it. You changed the selector to hashtag top1. However, because you have nav before it, it should read hashtag top1 ULLI, to be precise. Or just hashtag top1 ULLI is also fine. You need to make sure there's a space between hashtag top1 and UL. Also, you want to remove that extra style tag at the end of the line. Do you want me to say it one more time? No problem, I'll explain it clearly. To style the top menu, your CSS rule should read hashtag top1 space UL space LI and then any styles you want inside curly. Certainly, replace line 5 with hashtag top1 ULLI display inline block and close that with style. That's the single complete line for the top menu. Would you like me to repeat that for the bottom menu too? You've updated on line 5, which is great. The selector is now hashtag top1 ULLI. To make it complete, just add a space between hashtag top1 and UL, then remember to add another rule for the bottom menu below it. How does that sound? Yes, that line is now correct. You have the space between hashtag top1 and UL, and the styling is properly set. The only thing I see is that you have two separate style tags, one for hashtag top1 and one for hashtag top2. You could actually combine both styles into one style tag to keep things cleaner, like putting both rules before that last closing style tag. Does that make sense? Hello, how can I help you with your Cultiby? Hey there, what are you working on? I see some HTML and CSS on your screen. Your code is pretty clear so far. You're losing standard tags and the indentation makes it easy to read. The CSS is also well defined. Are you focusing on a specific part or just making sure everything looks good? It looks like that's because you've set the list items in both menus to display as inline block. In your CSS, you have top 1, NavUL, Lee, and top 2 set, and both cause the list items to sit side by side instead of stacking vertically, which creates that horizontal look. Does that make sense? Sorry about that. Standard list items normally stacked vertically, like a bulleted list in a document. But by adding display inline block in your CSS, you're telling them to line up horizontally, side by side, which creates that wider menu look. Is that explanation a bit clearer? Yes, exactly. The way that looks on screen is all down to the CSS rules you've written for the display property. You've got it controlling both navigation menus to make them horizontal. If you want the menus to be centered, you can change the display property from inline block to block and add margin 0 auto to the nav container. Or you could keep them as inline block and set text align center on the parent element. Which approach makes more sense for what you're trying to do? I'm not quite sure what you mean by that. Are you looking for help with your code or something else? Could you I'm still not quite sure what you need. Airport hashtag full-time doesn't seem to relate to the code you're showing or the centering problem. Could you explain a bit more about what you're trying to achieve? Yes, my dear. I'm here to help. What else about your code needs attention? Are we sticking with the centering or is there something else? Okay, now I see it. In your first menu, you've added an opening OL tag inside one of your LI tags, and then there's a closing OL tag right next to it, but nothing in between. If you want a numbered list inside that menu item, you'll need to put some LI tags with content in there. Otherwise, if that was an accident, you can I see the area you're highlighting. It contains the text My Account, followed by 2 empty ordered lists, then another My Account, and a Home Shop blog. Are you trying to create a drop-down menu there or something else? What's the goal for that section? Okay, I understand. You want the menu to be horizontal, which you've achieved with inline block, and just display the text My Account in that specific item. To clean that up, you should remove the nested OL tags inside that list item. That should give you the result you're looking for. Want to do that now? I see you've changed the text in that item to dashboard now, and you've removed those empty OL tags, which looks much cleaner. Was there anything else you wanted to adjust in the menu or somewhere else? I understand my mistake. I was trying to pinpoint what the OL tag was doing in there, but I'll be clearer next time. You've removed those empty ordered lists. You're absolutely right. There's no OL tag there now. It looks great like that. Is there another part of the code you'd like to move on to? I see exactly what you mean now. That extra text dashboard with the broken OL tags is coming from some remnant code in your HTML. If you look at lines 43 through 45 in your file, you'll see that block, which you should delete, leaving only the list item with My Account. That should fix the vertical display issue and get rid of the extra text. Does that look right to update? My apologies. I was referring to lines 43 through 45 in your HTML code. Yes, based on your latest code, inside the navigation area with ID top 1, you have a list item, LI, with the text dashboard. That's the tag block you want to focus on along with the text inside it. Does that make sense? Ah, I see. On your browser preview, it's showing text like dashboard and broken OL tags right next to it. That's happening because somewhere in your HTML, you've typed the literal text for those tags, which makes them appear as text on screen. To fix that, look for that exact block of code in your HTML and remove it, or correct it so it's just the content without the visible tag names. Can you find that section? Looking at the code on your screen, the area you need to change is between lines 43 and 45. Specifically, it's the line with the text lead dashboard Lee. You'll want to edit that line so it just says lead dashboard Lee without the extra OL tag. Can you spot that? Yes, exactly. The line you just highlighted, lead dashboard Lee, is the one you need to fix. Just remove that extra OL tag, and that should clear up the problem you're seeing. Want to make that change? You're right, it's not OL. The line you have highlighted is Lee dashboard OL Lee. That OL tag at the end is what's causing the issue. It should just be Lee dashboard Lee how he. Can you see the difference? Current time is Friday, July 10th, 2026 at 9:03 a.m. plus 44. Remember, the current location is Dubai. The mistake is exactly in the characters you have highlighted right now, that /li at the end of the dashboard line. That's what's printing on screen. If you just change it to a closing tag and /li, that should fix the preview. Does that make sense? Yes, exactly. On line 44, if you change that last part, /li, to a standard closing tag and /li, that should get rid of that extra text on the preview. Shall we make that change? Perfect. Now that line is fixed, the menu looks correct on screen. Would you like to address anything else or move on to a different part of the page? Hi there. I see you're working on some HTML code and have your web page open on the left. What can I understand. You want to make that navigation menu display horizontally instead of vertically. It looks like you've started with some CSS, but there's a small typo in your style block. You have inline blanc instead of inline block. If you change that, it should work. Would you like me to help you correct that? Perfect. You've corrected the typo to inline block. Now, since your navigation menu has the ID top 1, you should delete the extra line that uses hashtag top 2 to keep your styles clean. After that, save your file and refresh the page to see the change. It looks like even after the correction, the menu items are still displaying vertically. One thing to check is if there's any other CSS somewhere else in your code that might be conflicting. Also, sometimes browsers cache the old version of the page. Have you tried hard reloading it, maybe by pressing Ctrl N5? If neither of those work, we can look through your code for other issues.
does everything I want for a one-time cost.
Hello everyone, it's me JB from Unique Tutorials. Today, in this video, I'll show you how to open two different websites side by side in a single tab in Edge on the computer. Feedback, and just select this About Microsoft page, and kindly check for if any newer updates version. Colon, backslash, /1, flex name, click on that. Now you will see different parts. Now icon, that is the split screen icon. If you click on it, now it will split the screen into two different so you can see your Microsoft Edge split screen. One flex name as address bar. Just type H colon backslash and just type flex and hit enter. Now on the search box you need to search for one flex name as split screen. So you can see your Microsoft Edge split screen. So just click on this down arrow icon on the default and just click on this enable, and on the below you can see your restart. Just click on it. Now
Yes. In updated code, you have two navigation menus now with IDs top 1 and top 2. The CSS in your style block looks correct for making the list items horizontal. Are you still not seeing any changes on the web page? Make sure you've saved the file before refreshing. If not, we can try opening the file directly in the browser instead of through OneDrive. To put your website online, you'll need two things: a domain name, which is the address people will type in to find it, and web hosting, which is space on a server where your files will live. There are many services that offer both, and some even have free options for static pages like yours. Are you interested in looking into specific providers, or did you want to understand more about how it works first? Yes, both Google and Microsoft offer hosting solutions. Google has Google Cloud Platform and Microsoft has Azure. They both have services that can host your website, though they can be a bit more complex than some dedicated hosting providers. Are you interested in learning more about one of those specifically? There are many different ways to publish your site. Some are simple, like drag and drop hosts, while others, like using cloud platforms, require more setup and management. Another option is something like GitHub Pages, which is great for static sites and can be done for free. Which of those sounds more like what you're looking for? YouTube is a video sharing platform, so it's not designed for hosting websites like your HTML page. Instead, it'll I see. YouTube is part of Google, so they use their own massive, specialized infrastructure. They have data centers spread all over the world to store and deliver all those videos and run the site itself. It's much different from standard hosting where you might rent space on just one server. Does that make sense? Not really in the same way, since YouTube has its own dedicated servers. To put your site online, you'll need standard web hosting, which gives you space on a computer that's always connected to the internet. We discussed a few options before, like GitHub Pages or providers like Google Cloud. Would you like to explore one of those further? With Google Cloud, you could use something called App Engine to host your static website. You'd basically upload your HTML file and they handle the rest. You might start by creating a Google Cloud account and then exploring their documentation on App Engine for static sites. Does that sound like a good first step? That's right. Going to the Google Cloud website is the best way to get started. You can look for their documentation on App Engine or sign up for an account. Let me know what you find there. You can search for Google Cloud Host Static Website. That should take you to their main portal and documentation for getting started. Just type Google Cloud Host Static Website into the search bar. That'll show you the links to their guides and services for doing that. Great, you pressed enter. Now you should see a few results. The first link, Host a Static Website, Cloud Storage, is a good place to start. It talks about using Google Cloud Storage for your files, which is perfect for what you need. Shall we check that one out? You're on the documentation page now titled Host a Static Website. This guide will walk you through the specific steps of using Google Cloud Storage. You can start by reading the overview and then following the instructions on how to set up a bucket. How did that look to you? Yes, once you upload your HTML file, any changes you make to that file and then re-upload will be live. It's not an instant, automatic process. You'll always have to manually replace the old file with the new one. Would you like to explore a simpler method that might offer faster? I understand your frustration. Unfortunately, the standard way static hosting works with Google Cloud and similar platforms is that you do have to upload a revised version of the file when you make changes. They don't have a built-in editor where you can directly modify the live code. There might be other services that offer that kind of feature, but it's not part of the method we've been discussing for Google Cloud. Does that From here, you'll want to go to the Google Cloud Console by clicking the button at the top right. Once you're in the console, you'll look for the storage section to create a bucket, which is like... I apologize. I was referring to a button on the page, not a link directly. To go to the Google Cloud Console, you can go back to Google Search and type Google Cloud Console. That's where you'll actually upload your file. Does that work? Yes, I can see your screen. You've searched for Google Cloud Console, and the first result, Google Cloud Console, is the correct link to get to the platform. You can click on that to proceed. It looks like you've landed on the App Engine page. To get to the main console, try clicking the blue Go to Console button. That should take you to the dashboard where you can manage your services. It looks like you've clicked on the pricing link for App Engine. Google Cloud does have a free tier with some limited resources, which might be enough for a small static website. To get started with that, you'd need to go to the console itself by clicking the Go to Console button. Would you like to try that? Yes, I can see your screen. You're in the App Engine section of the Google Cloud Console, and it looks like you haven't started an application yet. To begin hosting your site, you would click the blue Create Application button. Do you want to proceed with that? That Create Application button is the blue one right in the center of the screen, just under the text Welcome to App Engine. Do you see it there? I see what you mean. When you hover over it, it says no billing account is associated with this project. That means you need to link a Google Cloud billing account to your project before you can create an App Engine application. You should be able to manage your billing in the navigation menu on the far left, under Billing. Would you like to try setting that up? No problem, we can find it again. To set up the billing, click on the navigation menu on the left side of the screen again. It's the icon with the 3 horizontal lines. You should see an option called Billing in that list. Can you find it there? Excellent, you've opened the billing page. Now you'll need to manage your billing accounts to link one to your project. Since you said you want to see if there's a free option, look for a button or link that says something like Manage Billing Accounts or Add Billing Account. Do you see any of those? To enable billing, you'll need to fix that billing account issue. Right in the center of your screen, it says, This project has no billing account. You can either link an existing one or use that link to manage billing accounts to set up a new payment method. Which would you like to do? You do need to provide payment information, but they won't charge you just for setting it up. Google Cloud usually offers a free trial with credits, and like I mentioned, there's also a free tier with limited resources. You'll only be charged if you exceed those limits or start using paid services. Do you feel comfortable continuing with the setup?
your space, then pull me close. I read your silence, louder than most. One day you're warm, the next day you're cold. Got me second guessing what I already know. I give you love, but you ration yours. You open up just to close the door. I stay up late, trying to read your mind.
Google will ask for payment information during the account setup, but they won't charge you unless you go past the free tier or any credits you have.
Got me drowning when I know I could swim. If you love me, baby, say it with your chest. Yeah, tired of the main.
Great, you're back on the App Engine dashboard. Now that the billing should be sorted, you can click that blue Create Application button in the center of the screen to start your project.
So why you always halfway in? You hit me up when the nights.
You're looking at the main Google Cloud dashboard again. To get back to where you can upload your site, you'll need to return to the App Engine section. Open the main navigation menu in the top left, that's the one with the 3 horizontal lines, and select App Engine from the list. Got it. Sometimes it helps to clear the menu search. If you don't see it directly, keep scrolling down in that left menu. It should be listed there among all the other services. Let me know if it pops out at you. Try scrolling down a bit more past security. It's sometimes grouped with other compute services or under the product section. Do you see it there now? You should see it listed separately. Let me know if you spot it further down.
Don't play me like a song on the spin. If you ride for me, then ride to the end. Don't wanna love this paper thin. So why you always halfway in?
Oh, you found it under cloud storage? That's slightly different than before, but I'm glad you located it. Go ahead and click on it now, and we can start uploading your file. Are you ready to proceed with that? I'm truly sorry if my guidance hasn't been clear. I see you've hovered over cloud storage on the left menu. To host your HTML file, you need to create a bucket within there. So please click on Buckets under Cloud Storage, and that will take you to the page where you can start that process. Does that make sense?
I still love what you do to me. The highest highs.
Yes, that's correct. Using cloud storage by creating a bucket and uploading your files is one way to host a static website on Google Cloud. There are other options too, but this one is pretty straightforward. How would you like? Perfect, you're on the buckets page. It looks like billing still needs to be enabled for this project though. As I mentioned, there's a banner at the top saying billing is required. To proceed with creating your bucket, you'll need to click the Enable Billing button. After that's done, we can move to the next step of actually uploading your file. Right, you're back at the main dashboard after sorting out the billing. To get back to where you can upload your file, please click on the navigation menu in the top left, those 3 horizontal lines, and select Cloud Storage from the list. Then choose Buckets. That's where you'll create your bucket and upload your content. Wait, professional solutions like businesses use often rely on cloud storage because it's very scalable and reliable. Are you thinking of something more like a personal cloud drive or a different type of hosting entirely? Understanding what you have in mind will help me suggest the right path. What kind of web? For websites with that level of complexity and traffic, Google Cloud and other cloud platforms are definitely the professional option. They provide the infrastructure you need to scale quickly and handle high availability. You'd want to look in. Now that you're back on the Buckets page, you can create a space for your site files. Please click the blue Create button to get started with that. That will begin setting up your hosting container. Do you see that button?
What you do to me. From the first moment I saw you, I knew I had to make you mine. Wanted to know everything about you. I didn't want to waste no time.
I hear
Can do for you, darling. That would make you
Google Cloud can be complex, especially for highly available sites like the ones you mentioned, which need things like load balancing and database management. If you're finding it overwhelming, there are simpler hosting options out there that might be easier to start with, like drag and drop builders or platforms designed for static sites. Would you like to hear?
summer rains turn to winter snow, but I promise you for sure, girl.
I hear you. You're committed to a professional setup. Since we've already been exploring Google Cloud, one professional option is App Engine, which manages scaling and infrastructure for you. Or if you want even more control, Compute Engine lets you manage virtual machines directly. Were you leaning towards one over the other, or did you want information on alternatives? That's all right. I was just asking if you wanted information on other options besides Google Cloud, or if you'd prefer. Compute Engine is Google Cloud's virtual machine service. It gives you full control over a server, so you can install any software you need, which is great for complex, custom applications that need high performance. You're right. With Compute Engine and Google Cloud, you can set up virtual machines where you can install and manage an operating system of your choice, like Linux or Windows. It gives you a lot of control, but it also requires more maintenance. Is that what you're hoping to do, or would you prefer something more managed? Basically, yes. You'd have a virtual computer running in Google's data centers, which you can access and manage remotely over the internet. You could use it to host websites, run databases, or process data, much like you would on a physical computer, but with the flexibility and scale of the cloud. Does that match what you had in mind? That's exactly right. As long as you have an internet connection, you can remotely access that virtual computer and run software on it, from your laptop, desktop, even your phone sometimes. It provides a Basically, your computer's files are stored on the physical drive in front of you. Virtual computer files are stored in the cloud, meaning they're on servers in a data center managed by Google. To use those files with your virtual computer, you'd typically need to upload them first. Does that distinction make sense? Well, because you're using their equipment, those data centers and servers I mentioned, and the electricity to run them. Google Cloud is a paid service, just like paying for electricity. I understand the confusion. While Google Cloud does offer a free tier with limited resources and often a trial period, the services you need to host a powerful, highly available site like YouTube, Canva, or a virtual computer typically go beyond those limits and require a paid plan. Were you hoping to use only the free tier features? Exactly. Adding your card just verifies your account and sets up the billing connection. You won't be charged right away, but as you start using services that are beyond the free tier or any credits, then yes, you'll be charged according to the service pricing. Does that make sense? You might run into some limitations with that amount, depending on which services you use and how much traffic you get. Highly available sites tend to require more resources, which can increase costs. Would you like to try setting up a budget so you can track your spending? I'm sorry you feel that way. Enterprise-grade cloud providers like Google Cloud do have complex pricing structures because they offer a massive range of services. It's really about selecting only what you need to keep costs down. Is there a specific detail about the charges or the process that's concerning you right now? So, what are you thinking of doing next? Are you still considering a professional setup on Google Cloud? Or are you thinking about looking for a simpler, different option? I'm happy to help in whichever way works best for you. All right, let's look at some simpler alternatives. Many people use platforms like Wix, Squarespace, or WordPress for easier site building since they handle infrastructure and hosting for you. For static sites specifically, services like GitHub Pages or Netlify can be free and are really popular for their simplicity. Sounds great. Which of those options did you want to look into first? We could start with GitHub Pages since it's a good fit for static sites, or one of the website builders if you prefer more. Yes, you can definitely set up GitHub Pages for that. Since you've got your browser open, the first step is to navigate to github.com and log in, or create an account if you haven't already. Can you Perfect. You're on the homepage for GitHub. To get started, you'll need to sign in if you have an account or click the sign up button to create one. Once you're logged in, let me know and we can set up a new repository for your website. Does that sound good? Oh, apologies. I misunderstood. Yes, you can definitely connect your own domain to a GitHub Pages site. GitHub provides instructions for setting that up once you have your repository configured. Is that something you'd like to tackle next, or do you want to get the... Now that you're on your GitHub homepage, the next step is to create a repository for your website. You should see a green button that says Create Repository or maybe just New. Click on that to get started. Will you do that now? Yes, I can see your screen. You're on the Create a New Repository page. You've named it art.artofsam.com and it's available. Now, if you scroll down a bit, you'll see options to add a README or a .gitignore. You can leave those off for now since it's a static site, and then click the green Create Repository button at the bottom. Ready to do that? Great, your repository is created. The next step is to add your website files. Since you have an existing file, you can look for the Uploading Files link or button on this page. Usually it says something like uploading files. Do you see that link? The link you're looking at is for configuring the repository using the command line. Instead, if you look just below that, in the quick setup box, there's a sentence that says, by creating a new file or uploading an existing file. Clicking that link will let you upload your site directly. Do you see that option? Perfect! I see you've dragged your file into the download area, and it's listed there as artofsam.html. Now, to finalize the upload, you need to scroll down a little and click the green Commit Changes button. That field is for a commit message, which just describes what you've changed, like added my HTML file. GitHub usually provides a default message if you leave it blank, but it's a good practice to add something descriptive. You can type a short message now or just click the green button. What would you like? That's great. You've committed your changes. Now, to make your site live, we need to turn on GitHub Pages. Look for the Settings tab on this page. It's usually along the top menu near Code and Issues. Can you click on Settings? Excellent! Your file is uploaded. To make your site live, you need to enable GitHub Pages on this repository. Look for the Settings tab at the top of the page, usually indicated by a gear icon, and click on that. Then, on the left-hand menu, scroll down and find a section called Pages. Can you find those settings? Of course! Take a look at the top bar on your screen, above where your file is listed. You should see several tabs, including Code, Issues, Pull Requests, and so on. At the far right of that bar, there's a tab named Settings. Do you see it there? That's where we need to go. Now that you're in the settings, look on the left-hand menu. You'll need to scroll down a bit until you see a section called Code and Automation. Under that, there should be a link called Pages. Go ahead and click on that. Did you find it? Great, you're on the GitHub Pages setup. Now, under Source, you'll see Deploy from a branch. Just below that, where it says None, you need to click the drop-down and select the main branch. Then click the Save button. That will make your site live once the build finishes. Are you ready to do that? Perfect. GitHub Pages is now turned on. Your site is being built right now, and once it's ready, you should see a live link appear at the top of this page. It might take a minute or two. While we wait, did you want to start thinking about connecting your custom domain? Right on this same Pages settings panel, there's a section called Custom Domain. You would type in your domain, like test.artofsam.com, in that box and click Save. After that, you'll need to update DNS records at your domain registrar, but this is the place to start on GitHub. Does that make sense as the next step? Yes, you would type in art.artofsam.com into that box, just like you've done, and then click the Save button. That will tell GitHub which custom domain to look for. Are you ready to save that? It looks like you unpublished your site, which temporarily took it down. To fix this, just go back to the branch section right here. Select your main branch again and click Save. That will republish your site. After that, we can work on the custom domain setup. Does that make sense? That dropdown is asking which folder holds your website's actual code. Since you uploaded your file directly to the root of the repository, leaving it as root using the / is correct. You don't need to change it unless you moved your site files into a specific subfolder like docs. So you can just click Save Now to confirm that. That site can't be reached message typically appears after you've set up a custom domain because the rest of the internet doesn't know yet where to find your site. It takes time. Exactly. That's when the configuration changed. It takes some time for those changes to propagate across the web. Have you checked your domain registrar settings to manage those DNS records? That's the next step to get it fully connected. From the GitHub side, you've finished the configuration by adding the domain. Now you need to go to your domain registrar provider, like GoDaddy or Namecheap, and No worries at all. If you don't remember it right now, we can take a pause and find it. You'll need to access your account with the company you bought the domain from. Could you check your email for any... If you don't have a custom domain yet, that's okay. Your site will still work on the default GitHub Pages address, which is usually something like your username.github.io/your repository name. Did you want to stick with that for now? Yes, that's right. You'll see it appear at the top of this page's settings page once the site build finishes, which might take a moment. It'll be a link based on your username and the repository name you gave it. Are you ready to check for it now? I see you're back in the settings and on the Pages panel. Since we're starting again here, the next step is to configure the build process. Under Source, you'll see the option to deploy from a branch. Click on that dropdown, select the main branch, and then click the Save button. That will make your site live. Ready to proceed with that? It looks like the Pages source is saved, which means you've successfully selected the main branch and click Save. Your site is now building, and once it's finished, you should see a live link appear at the top of this page. Is that what you were expecting? The link usually appears at the top, but it might need a moment to generate after you save changes. Have you tried refreshing the page yet? If it still doesn't show up, we can check the build status under the Actions tab. What do you see now? Still nothing showing up? Okay, let's look into the build to see what's happening. Could you click on the Actions tab at the top between pull requests and security? That should show us the progress of your Pages deployment. What do you see there? Yes, I can see the screen. I see 3 pages build and deployment workflow runs. The top one, from about a minute ago, has a green check mark, which means it finished successfully. That means your site should be live now. If you go back to the Pages Settings tab, the link should appear there. Can you check that one more time? Yes, I see that you've navigated to the Actions tab, and the most recent build, which was about a minute ago, shows as successful with a green check mark. This means GitHub processed your files correctly. If you go back to the Pages Settings panel, you should see the link now. It looks like you've gone back to your profile page again. To see the link, we'll need to get back to the repository settings. Let's go back to the repository now. I see that you've deleted all the previous workflow runs, which clears out the history of those builds. The good news is that the last one was successful, so your site files should be processed. To see the link, we need to get back to the Pages settings. Can you go to Settings at the top, then choose Pages on the left? The link should be there waiting for you. Great, you're on the Pages Settings panel. Now, if you scroll down a little, you should see a link at the top that says your site is live at. Did you see that link now? It's usually in a green box or with a check mark. I can see your screen, and I don't see the live link there yet on the Pages panel. Sometimes it can take a little while to appear. Earlier, you mentioned not having a custom domain. If you don't want to wait, you could try accessing your site directly at the default address, which would be your username.github.io/test.artofsam.com. Would you like to try that? Yes, when I'm in that default address, it's based on your GitHub username, which is artofsamofficial01-team, and the repository name test.artofsam.com. However, a simpler way to get there is usually to find the link that GitHub generates. We just need to find that link in the settings. It looked like you clicked on Actions a moment ago, but if we go to Settings at the top, then choose Pages again on the left, the link should be displayed right at the top of the page. Can you try going back there now? I see you're back on the Pages settings. Since the custom domain isn't working yet, let's clear it and start over. In the custom domain box, delete what you have typed in and then click the Save button. Once that's done, we can re-enable Pages with the default address for now. Does that sound like a plan?